For anybody who is like me with this franchise, you'll know that the first two movies are generally loved and praised. They're fun, creative, creepy, and exciting, with characters who you really want to root for. In the first movie, we have Justin Long and Gina Phillips, with an outstanding, believable chemistry as siblings who play off each other in such a charming, entertaining, and light-hearted way. Even when they bicker at one another, it comes across very well on screen. Eventually, the dim-witted Dari and his cautious sister Trish are put into a situation that they're not prepared for, which goes on to be an edgier seat kind of ride. I love it. Yeah, the first movie is one of my all-time favorite horror movies. The second movie, we follow a bunch of high school students whose bus breaks down, leaving them stranded in the middle of nowhere with the creeper outside stalking. It's also a favorite that adds to the universe. A brilliant continuation in my book. The vision stuff from Minxie I didn't care for too much, although it does have a surreal atmosphere which is at least appreciated. I'll get back to the vision stuff shortly, but yeah, while I will always love the characters of Trish and Dari first, I still adore the second movie. The characters are still likable and easy to root for, even if they are a bunch of douchey teens. Then the third movie came around many years later, but it might as well have been 23 years. It was so long. I even remember saying, "This is what I waited for?" After all these years, this was the follow-up to the second entry? I still think it's completely unnecessary, but I will admit, it does hold aspects that are entertaining. The creeper's truck this time around has these spikes that can shoot down at any second. Man, that's gruesome. And genuinely cool. And the cameo with Trish at the end always makes me really happy. Yeah, I've seen this movie more than once. Don't even get me started with the magical, silly hand that gives everybody milk eyes, along with the old woman who can see her dead son and talks to him. Look, I get they wanted to expand the lore and all, maybe showing the creeper's deeper backstory. I just didn't need that stuff at all. Here we are, half a decade later though, with indeed another entry. Jeepers Creepers Reborn, as this is a reboot. Because of course it is. I'm sure we've all heard that word so much now that I guess we shouldn't even be surprised that they decided to reboot the series. Yeah, I remember back in early 2021 I heard news about a brand new Jeepers Creepers, telling us that the franchise is headed into a brand new direction. At first I kinda went, okay. But then I started to warm up to the idea because I said to myself, maybe they'll get a bigger budget and more care and time will be put into it. And I decided to give it a chance because, well, of course I would. I was always going to watch Reborn. Then I heard a new director would be on board since, Victor is, kind of fucked in the head. Look, replacing him is not a bad thing, but I was worried in my own selfish way. I questioned if a new person had the ability to get his specific directional design across on screen, or maybe they'll just do it their own way and still offer a fun experience. Although, Victor did write and direct Jeepers Creepers 3 to be fair, so it seems that even the creator can't really bring back the quality to his own franchise. Oh well. Anyway, the new director would be Timo? I'm not even going to try to pronounce that last name. A dude I'd never heard of pretty much, but wanted to give him a chance at least, so I did. I won't lie, I still went into this with mid-expectations, but trying to maintain an optimistic approach. I did think it would look good visually. The acting should be alright. Surely the creeper himself will be as monstrously dangerous as ever. But let's slow down. Let's take this step by step. Let's see here. We open up with an elderly couple who is driving in a car. Let me just cut to the chase, because I don't want to waste your time. They try to recreate the opening scene of the first movie, except now it's an old couple in this. Turns out, though, this is a movie within the movie that was being watched by Chase on his phone, one of the main characters. And I gotta ask, why did you do this? What did this accomplish? Was it a cheap nostalgic trip or something? Because you sort of wasted time here. I mean, I probably would have liked it if it was put together better, but it's not that great and felt weirdly rushed. I guess that means they wanted to get the movie going here, but that only means you shouldn't have put it in there at all. You're just taking up time. If I want to watch a classic opening scene, I'll just watch the first movie, thank you very much. Now let's get into the actual movie. I'll just dive right in. The acting, not believable most of the time, and the writing does not help, but it comes across like a school play. Both the acting and writing can be very vivid on screen. You can really see it, which takes you out of the experience a little bit. Now, to be honest, I've seen my fair share of horror movies, which means I've seen my fair share of shitty acting, and while this movie suffers the same way, I will give Sydney Craven a break though. I actually do appreciate her effort and energy put in. She does give it her all as much as she can, so I respect it in that way. Imran Adams? Sorry, again, I'm not good with the names, but Imran Adams tries to put in effort too, for sure. I can at least say they put in the energy. I wouldn't say the acting itself is all that great, but the care and the devotion of the performance, yeah, it's there. I can see that, and I can appreciate that. Although it doesn't really help the movie that much, so I don't know. So the story goes like this. Lane and Chase are a couple who are headed to a horror festival. Lane, the girlfriend, is not happy about it, mostly looking down on the whole event, calling it a nerd fest. Even though she goes on to say, I'm a scientist. Yeah, because you're not nerdy at all, right? In a societal sense, I mean, if you're a scientist, that usually means you're a fucking dork. You have nothing to say, honey. And when they do get to the festival, I was a little relieved, honestly, because the trip getting there is pretty much a huge waste of time. Doing things like going to an antique store to painfully, slowly, and silently observe the items, making the movie grind to a halt. Then, at the hotel room, Lane decides to put on cosplay costumes her boyfriend gives her, then going on to do this montage wearing different character costumes from other movies. And while this stuff can be funny and charming, no fucks were given here from me, sorry. I was just like, what movie am I watching right now? This is a creeper movie? Anyway, when they do finally get to the festival, shit goes to, well, shit. It's a simple story for sure, which is fine. I think you can have a simple story, but have interesting characters to make it watchable. It's just, well, this doesn't have that. I'm sorry, but Lane had her insufferable moments with a smart-ass type of personality, judging everything she sees and experiences because it's below her. I was wondering if she had anything else to offer than her shitty remarks, as the reboot sort of mocks and belittles the previous entries too. Let me explain. You see, in this universe, the previous Creeper movies are actually movies in this too. But as they're talking about them, Lane gives this eye-rolling rant about how the Creeper is similar to bugs who mate, then just die, becoming complete failures. Wow. Well, that's nice. Also, let me just point out, the Creeper doesn't die, he goes into hibernation. Difference! Also, these two have zero chemistry as a couple. I do not believe for 1 second that they are in a relationship. Actually, I can't even say that they would be friends. I don't think they would hang out at all. I don't know, it's just not believable in the slightest. Lane and Chase also come into contact with other characters who might as well be brick walls. One of them is Stu, I think. He's Southern American. Yeah, that's his character. There's not really anything special to him beyond that, I'm afraid. But there you go, he's Southern American. I should also mention that at the beginning of the movie, Lane seems to have this male friend that if you blink once, you'll miss him. I guess it's the setup for the introduction of the Creeper, as male friend does get killed minutes into the opening of the movie, showing us how scary he is. Whoa. There's this blonde girl too, I'll call her Bimbo, which is what Lane calls her. Bimbo has next to no personality, and mostly just stands around with heavy breathing and crying and saying stuff like, we gotta get out of here. Yeah, that's all she does. Oh, and there was this guy too. Anyway, at one point, Lane gets captured, eventually getting tied up on a table. Jeepers Creepers, more like Kinky Creeper, am I right? Stop, no. We're having fun, yay, giggles. She panics and screams for help as she lays on the table. Then the Creeper does something that I was confused about because I think I'm a dumbass. I probably just wasn't paying attention. So Lane is pregnant, by the way. Yeah, and the Creeper stabs her stomach because he wants the baby. Not her, he only wants her baby. I always thought the Creeper could sense fear, which is what made him want to eat people. That's his whole point. He is out to feed on whoever fears him, so Lane is a perfect target. But no, he just wants her baby. Why does he want her baby? What's the reason for that? I don't know. It seems like the writers of the movie wanted to add an unborn baby, making the stakes higher, or to add an edgy and twisted aspect to the story. But it probably would have meant more if you added development to that aspect, because I did not give a shit at all. Another aspect that was odd was about Lane. Now, maybe it's just me, I think she's an inconsistent character. She lays on the table, very scared, very frightened, and crying and screaming and all that stuff. Then, when breaking out of the rope and getting off that table and finding her boyfriend, she becomes this brave, no fucks given girl and takes command of the whole situation. And no, it's not because she's a woman. I get that I've been shitting on her character the most. I just think in a movie, you usually have the hero's journey. They change, they overcome, they evolve from who they were at the beginning, and ultimately transformed by the end. But goddamn, this was not earned here at all. You can't just be screaming and kicking 1 second, and then the next you're like, how do you like those peepers, bitch? Yes, she actually said that. That did happen. I think if you gradually built up to her becoming fearless and brave, I'd have no problem. But it was like a whole personality change in the space of a few seconds. It was strange. Now look, maybe I need to rewatch it or something. Like that's gonna happen. It just didn't feel believable that she would change into this fearless leader type in the space of about a minute. Now for the creeper himself. Yeah, he's not impressive or memorable this time around. Who, by the way, is not played by the same actor, obviously. And I guess they can't now because in this universe, they're also movies, so yay. He is now smaller, cheap-looking, and honestly, boring as hell. I could bet $1 million that someone out there has done way better cosplaying than this. Even his truck looks like a movie prop now, along with shrinking in size. It just does not look monstrous. Like before, his truck was a monster and a character itself. Here, it's nothing that appealing. Along with his weapons, which look plastic. He's not creepy, he's not scary, he's not intimidating, and he's not fun to watch either because he doesn't do much throughout. There really isn't any creativity or focus on him with his tactics or with the truck. All they do in this movie is take a few little things that the past did, then proceed to execute it in a very cheap and half-assed way this time around. Such a letdown. The fun of the creeper was seeing what the hell he would do next and how messed up he would go about things in his monstrous nature. It was seriously creepy and even frightening, just by the sight of him. He looked human, but also animalistic, which gave off an uncanny vibe. In Reborn, he truly does look fake, like somebody doing cosplay of the creeper. And this just ultimately feels dull, as there's a certain atmosphere that gives off a boring and bland feeling. No imagination, no creativity, no fun. It's kind of a bummer. Nothing really fun to watch on screen when it comes to danger, kills, chase scenes, suspense. You can't sink into the world because you'll mostly be watching it with one eyebrow raised, questioning the cheapness and half-assed approach which the movie takes. The second half of the story takes place in an escape room type of house, and this is where the characters come into full contact with the creeper, which, by the way, only elevates the tackiness feeling of this movie, because when they do get to this location, everything falls apart for me. Firstly, the kills are lame as fuck. Well, at least the 2 or 3 kills that actually happen in this movie. And when they do happen, of course you don't see it, just the aftermath. This was my exact criticism of Wrong Turn 2021. Why do you only see the aftermath of the kills instead of seeing the whole thing? Is it because of the low budget? I mean, come on, it's a horror movie for crying out loud. You think we're here for deep storytelling and characters? It's a fun, kill-em-all kind of horror. And if you don't have gore and blood and kills and death scenes and all that stuff, it disappoints immensely. I know, low budget. According to Wikipedia, it had $5 million to work with, which isn't pocket change by any means. I guess I just expected something more since, you know, this kind of movie needs death scenes and brutal kills. And if it doesn't, it just fails miserably, for me at least. And oh my god. I really need to calm myself down at this part because what really surprised me, what really made me shocked, I couldn't believe what I was seeing when it came to the visual effects. I mean, it is rough. I think they used very easily to notice green screen, which I wouldn't mind as much, only for the fact that the background they use with the house and sky, it all looks like it was made from a 3D software or something. I actually think someone took a 3D house object or created one and slapped it on there, placing the characters over it. My jaw was on the floor when I saw this horseshit. I know CGI is used a lot these days, it's the norm, but are you telling me you couldn't visit a real house or a set? Then again, I did see the production photos and they are indeed on a set. But I believe it's the exterior shots that mostly look odd. I guess they only had an interior to work with, then placing them in front of a green screen for the outside shots. I don't know. I can't confirm that. Either way, it looks extremely weird. I was flabbergasted, I tell you. I was dumbfounded. You know, I can deal with this stuff most of the time. I'm not a snob when it comes to cheap movies or low budget stuff. But I guess I do have a certain threshold, because this went too far in the low budget area. I just think the poor visual effects are way too noticeable, even for the average dummy like me. It's bad, and they should have improved it before the movie released. Oh, I should also mention the visions. What was that about? The movie would do this thing where Lane would see stuff, and we'd see her with these people in a cult or some shit, all taking place inside her head. But apparently it's a vision for the future. I'm still wondering, where did this go? What was this about? What was this for the movie? I'm sure a much more intelligent person reviewing this will give an answer. I just feel that even if it does have an answer to why they were doing this, it didn't go anywhere. It didn't impact the movie at all, or at least me as a viewer. It's just filler that covers up the screen, the way I see it. Like, seriously, can we just stop with the paranormal witchcraft horseshit in these movies, please? You could say, well, hey now, the original movie had a psychic character who could see visions. Look, the characters never took her seriously. Plus, it never went deep into it. It didn't fill the whole movie with stupid visions, and it didn't overstay its welcome. The movie mostly remained in a grounded reality, which I prefer for this film series. It's not supposed to be a paranormal movie. It's not supposed to be a formulaic slasher movie either, which is what it felt like. Look, it's a horror movie for sure. A subgenre slasher, it is not. And I do hold the belief that a lot of horror movies these days look the same and have no unique qualities that stand out. Sadly, Jeepers Creepers is that way now too, completely stripped of all its unique charm. This movie could be anything. It could be any horror. Wrong Turn, Texas Chainsaw Massacre. It doesn't look that much different to them. Well, only more cheap and off-brand. But still, you could slap any name on it. Who cares? I'll even go as far to say it's not really Jeepers Creepers. It's a creature movie, sure, but you could put any name on it. So depressing. And I think what pisses me off the most, more than anything, is they had a chance to bring the creeper back and do some good with him. Something exciting. Give us something special again. No, they dropped the ball. And now they're planning a trilogy, apparently, starting with Reborn. Yeah, good luck with that. Me, I have zero hopes for you. Zero. Oh my god. I'm thinking maybe it needs to hibernate for 23 years when hopefully someone at that point has the budget to make something better, I guess. The whole thing is just an abomination from beginning to end. Congratulations. You are now worse than the third movie. How do you do that? How? You know what? That's the only impressive thing about this movie. You win at being the most shit. You have proved that the shithole can only get deeper and deeper and deeper. It can always get worse, ladies and gentlemen. Holy crap. I'm sure I'm missing out on other things. Actually, one thing that does come to mind real quick. The creeper would do this whistle now. He whistles and everybody covers their ears because it's so loud. Yeah, I don't know. A lot of things in this movie were just not good. I'll admit, I knew it was going to be a bit rough around the edges. Hell, all the Jeepers Creepers movies are. After all, they're B movies, C movies even. But no, this is different. So fucking different. I didn't think it would be so half-assed, so generic, so dull, so bland. It has no personality to it, no imagination, no charm. It is a nothing movie. It is a nothing entry. Now to the actors, visual artists, director, everyone involved in this, I wish no ill will towards you, believe that or not. I do wish you all the best in your careers and the future. And I do thank you for trying, and for everyone who woke up every day to put hours and hours into this, and for busting your asses. I appreciate that. I know it must have been a tiring job for sure, but I don't know, as a viewer sitting on his comfortable chair, I can't lie and say that I'm a fan of it. I can't say that I will watch it again. If somehow the second movie of this planned trilogy is better, then at least that'll be something. Maybe they'll learn from this. But my advice would be to continue on where Jeepers Creepers 2 left off. But I know you're not going to do that, and I'm sure you don't have the budget for it either. Oh, I forgot. Wait, Jeepers Creepers 1, 2, and 3 are also movies in this universe now. Yeah, so I guess, yeah. Well, it'll continue to be a pipe dream. Let's wrap this up here. My final words would be, the way I feel about Jeepers Creepers Reborn is the same way I felt about Wrong Turn 2021, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and the new Scream movie. It seems that now they can't do this right anymore. They can't do the atmosphere correctly, they can't do charm correctly, they can't have characters that you like, because characters now in these movies are usually insufferable, having this judgmental vibe to them about everything, and also shitting on the past. Yeah, it's not fun to watch these modern horror movies. They're dull, they're forgettable. Anyway, thank you for watching. This has been my review. And before you go, I do have another channel where I do dark and surreal animations. Feel free to watch them by clicking the link below. Okay, that's it for me. Go easy on me, please. Anyway, alright. Bye.